So I'm here again at the tip top of, I guess I have to call it the Walk of Goodness now. My mother did not like the name the Walk of Death, so we're gonna have to rename it the Walk of Goodness. But while I'm trying to come back to life here, I thought I would share a moment I had the other night at Middle Ground at the center while having iftar. And some people have been reaching out. I've actually been trying to keep, these reflections to kind of a minimum. I was laughing with a friend of mine the other day, like there have become so many Ramadan reflections now that people are probably so busy reflecting, they're not reflecting. But I was really touched. It was an odd night. It was pretty much only myself and this older Pakistani brother. And we were kind of, odd cellmates, so to speak. He was much older than me, and there was a little bit of a language barrier. I mean, he spoke some English, but not great. And of course, I don't speak any Urdu. But when we went to pray, I noticed, when he was standing next to me, I was leading, and when we were in Jalsa towards the end sitting, I noticed his body like kind of vibrating. So I tried to kind of finish quickly because I wasn't sure what was going on. And as soon as I made the taslim and finished the prayer, he kind of collapsed a little bit, and I was worried. And I asked if he was okay, and he told me in as best he could that he was in a lot of pain. And he had like some nerve damage, he had some spinal issues, diabetes. I mean, he went down this list. I was like, my God. So I asked him, why don't you sit in the chair? Would that cause you some relief, or would that give you some relief? And he said, yes, sitting is actually a lot more pleasant for him, but he didn't want to sit. And I was like, well, why? And then he began to cry. Again, this is an elderly man. He began to weep, and he said, it's not right. Now, at first, the imam side of my brain was like, oh, well, maybe he just doesn't know about like the fiqh of salah. So I tried to explain to him. He said, no, I understand that you can sit. I understand this rukhsa, I understand this dispensation. He said, no. And then he pointed to his heart. He said, it's not right here. And he continued to cry. And he said, when I pray the normal way, I'm in a lot of pain, but my heart is content. But when I sit, my body feels better, but my heart doesn't feel right doing so. He's like, you're supposed to put your body on the ground. You're supposed to prostrate on the ground. It was really, it was a testament. For me, it was just wonderful this Ramadan to have such a raw, unintellectual, non-cerebral testimony of faith from this elderly man who, had a neck brace. And I mean, just, again, when he went down the list of his ailments, it was like, wow, man, And then we both got choked up because the man was like crying about how, all he wants Allah to do is just alleviate his condition, just alleviate his pain so that his khushu' or his focus will be more right in the prayer. Because obviously when he prays the normal way, the pain is so great that his body is shaking, and he says that, it is sometimes hard to have that concentration, but, the fact that he was just being honest about how his heart was so attached, to the prayer. May Allah give him shifa, may Allah cure him of his ailments and reward him abundantly for his devotion. It was something inspiring, so take a moment to sit with your elders. They got real stories.